Robert.
Yo, it's shaking AC.
Jeez, I only had 2 martinis and I got all sober to Sunday up on.
What? Happy Blur's Day, the 14th of April, eh?
I don't know. Are we gonna be okay? Or
Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be fine.
okay. So hey, hope
Hey.
you're awesome. Yeah.
Hope
Hey.
you're awesome too.
So wanted to talk about something that I am so passionate about, and I know you are as well in your franchise system, and that is collaboration. You know, so many well, I shouldn't say so many franchises. Okay, so we keep going.
Yeah, we should keep going.
Okay, I'm gonna reword this. Okay, so what I meant to say was, I find a lot of people miss. Again, I went with a lot of people. Anyway, franchisors, whatever. I'm trying not to put anybody down here, but there's a lot of opportunity for collaboration and leveraging the collective wisdom of people in like the group of franchisees in a system. And I mean, side hint or whatever about my play bigger groups that you know, of course, about that are coming, like it's all about collaboration and relationship building. And so when it comes to franchisees, often when I first work with people that are newer to franchising as franchisors, they haven't thought to put people together as a group. And sometimes it's because they are hesitating to bring people together for fear of hearing the negativity that can arise. And I mean, I always say to people, well, would you rather that negativity get brushed aside and under the rug and then it festers and comes back at you like a big animal? And I mean, if you're a more established franchise, the next thing you know, they're setting up an angry franchises owners association. So we want to give the franchisees an opportunity to come together and collaborate and share ideas and vent and whatever they need to do. So I know you're really good at that, and I want to get you to kind of talk about. Oh yeah. I want to talk about that in just a minute, but I just want to make sure that to be clear, the point here is that for franchisors that are not taking the opportunity to bring people together, to really think about that. And it is not a one-sided conversation, because there's no such thing, right? Like I'm doing it right now to you.
So I guess there is.
I'm having a conversation with myself. How fun is that, right? So, I mean, people are like, oh, well, we have webinars, you know, every week. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, we present the updates. And I'm like, and then what? And they're like, well, we have Q&A on the chat. And I'm like, oh, but like, you're not giving them a voice. You know, you got to bring them, not just giving them a voice, but bring them together. So I know that you do something really cool, and I know like lots of franchisors have different ways of doing this, but I like what you're doing. You do on Wednesday mornings.
Robert's Coffee and Positivity.
So let's talk about that, because you know, a lot of franchisors say to me that aren't doing this kind of thing. And now we're I think speaking, just to clarify, earlier franchisors, like emerging or early franchisors, when you've got, just to reference this, like if this is a bigger system, a more established franchisor, they can still do this in smaller groups. You could assign different people to host these. You can do breakout groups. There's ways to do it. Don't hide behind the fact that you're a bigger franchisor. But if you're the stage you're at, you've got, you know, about 20 or so franchisees. You can have everybody together. So let's hear how you do it. Tell us, and I'll stop my monologue.
Okay, look, I think leverage zip it. Leveraging the power of the group and the group think and people's collaboration and their ideas is so important to innovation and movement forward, and even benchmarking and a growing mindset in the proper direction. I get the idea that there's an opportunity for webinars and people to have like a lesson. I guess we're going to host a webinar about marketing. We're going to host a webinar about, you know, leadership or sales or whatever. Is totally get it, right? But to me, that's a bit more of an educational tool rather than something that's used to build culture or build collaboration or try to circumvent what might eventually end up being like an angry franchisees group, right? So this is where it kind of gets into collaboration. So what I do on Wednesdays is literally, it's kind of like open floor. I just say, hey guys, how's it going? tell me what happened. How's your day been? Did you plant that tree? How's your new puppy? You just had a baby. We just interact. I mean, there's sometimes stuff we have to push out, especially with all the, government regulations coming down about reopening these days. We got to talk about that sometimes too. But for the most part, it is just us enjoying each other's time, and making sure that we feel comfortable with each other. Because then when it comes time to collaborate on something, like at a company conference, which was more prevalent before COVID, or BC. How they have BC and AD, now BC is before COVID. But the new era, yeah. But now it's happening over video, but eventually it's going to happen in person again, because we're creatures of habit. We love social interaction, especially physical interaction. Being
This is an family rated rant and YouTube show. So you keep your own ideas to yourself.
Okay, but I meant like physical, like being in the same room with people. Yeah. So trying to foster that early on and get everyone involved and collaborating and talking about cool things and just becoming friends is important, because then if something goes wrong or somebody's upset, the pathway to solve the problem is open. There, you don't get into like snickering and gossiping and let me get this person on my side, and then we got one group of franchisees battling other groups of franchisees. It can get significantly out of hand.
Ugh, this is just such a juicy topic that I could rant for 4 hours or days about. But yeah, I love, like, when you build those relationships, or you provide opportunities for people to build those relationships as franchisees, then they feel more comfortable. And I remember this as a franchisee, for the record. I remember when we went to a franchise conference, which was sometimes an annual conference or sometimes a regional conference. And I mean, in this day and age, because that was quite a while ago. Well, I guess like 5 or 8 years ago, it was, it was still a thing.
8 years BC.
Yeah, BC. Yeah, it's all about COVID. But even like with the way it is now, we might be talking virtual, but it doesn't matter. Regardless, the point is, you when you meet those people and build those relationships, when you go back to your business, you are so much more comfortable reaching out to people, and you kind of gravitate towards the people that you align with, what their thinking is and their core values as franchisees. And you're like I remember, going, okay, so we typically reach out. I'm in Victoria, British Columbia, and we kind of formed a bit of an alliance or relationships with the other people on the island here, like in Nanaimo and Comox, these other cities. But at the conventions or where, like, again, could be virtual now, the whole company can come together so easily. We would meet other people, and then we would think, sweet, I'm going to call them. Like when we got back and we had a challenge, we could be like, I'm going to call Sharon. I never even knew her before. And now she talked about something that she was doing in one of our little kind of side conversations, and it was so cool. And I'm comfortable reaching out now. So we are just missing out if we don't bring people together in whether it's virtual or in person, whenever that's an option or whatever. You can do hybrid conferences, but yeah, I love it. So your positivity, I love also that you are talking. You're not like business. We're talking business. I really like that. My dad at M&M, I always talk about my dad. I learned so much from him, and we grew the company to almost 500 locations. So must have done something right. He was such a good leader, and I really believe that if you take care of the people, the business issues will take care of themselves. And so he would, I will say, go visit stores. He would always make sure that he knew tidbits about the franchisees and build relationships. And you're just hitting on one of my, well, I guess I brought it up, but this is one of my favorite topics.
Don't get me wrong. I love business, and I love the nitty gritty of cranking through financial statements and operations management.
KPIs.
And KPIs.
Unit economics. You guys have such good unit economics.
Stop.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. That's what I grew up focusing on. But if you're going towards the softer skills, it's one thing to have that forum available, but it's another thing to be able to lead and guide that forum into a fruitful fashion, which could dovetail into a whole other rant or conversation about leadership specifically, which I don't think we got enough time to deal with right now.
Let's save that. You
okay, ready?
Let's save that. 3, 2, 1.
Go be awesome.